Hey everybody, Jim and Eric here to talk about the official news today announced by Warner Brothers that director James Wan, you know him from Furious 7, the Saw movies, Insidious, is directing the Aquaman movie, the DC Comics Aquaman movie, starring this guy right here, Jason Momoa, and the title role. Eric, what do you think?
No, I mean, I think it's a good choice. I mean, look, right now, this guy is coming off of a movie that I believe is right now the third biggest movie ever. No, fourth biggest, but it's gonna pass Avengers, the original Avengers, pretty damn soon. That's getting you some attention in Hollywood. So it's no surprise. And look, Furious 7 was a giant movie that I think he did a very good job on, especially when you look at like sort of the tragedy involved and how they had to kind of work. It was a strange movie to kind of put together because of the Paul Walker situation.
A completely different kind of movie than he had made at that point.
Right.
I mean, that was his biggest budget, I believe, at that point.
Easily.
The most kind of physical effects work and visual effects, even though he has come from, you know, doing horror films.
Yeah.
You know, this is a guy with Insidious who basically made the movie on his computer himself, like edited it himself and everything. So, you know, he's certainly come a long way since the guy who, we have to remind you too, this is the guy along with Lee Winnell that gave us Saw.
The original Saw, the like micro budget, you know, could have been a straight to DVD movie,
You know, so this guy has had a fantastic arc in his career. Now, he's definitely, you know, had a lot of success with Warner Brothers in the past with The Conjuring.
Yeah.
And he's still going to direct Conjuring 2, according to the Warner Brothers press release. But I'm curious, you know, we know now he can do big action set pieces thanks to Furious 7. But he's also done, you know, some character work stuff with Death Sentence.
Yeah.
And
who could Kevin Bacon play in Aquaman?
Exactly.
Black Manta.
But my question is the fact that he is so strongly identified with the horror genre. Do you think that could come into play with Aquaman? I feel like he could create a really interesting kind of, you know, scary villain and use that environment.
I think it definitely could. I mean, look, there's a lot of talk, some of it critical, about the fact that the DC movies seem to be going dark and tonally, you know, that there's not a lot of brightness or fun to the proceedings. But look, with Aquaman, especially because Aquaman has to battle the perception, right?
Yeah.
And the cliche and all the like, Aquaman's cheesy. So I think and you look at this image, it's like, okay, they're gonna go for a tough, darker Aquaman. So I think, maybe he could have some cool underwater sequences that are not what you picture of an Aquaman movie.
Yeah.
We don't know really who the villain is or anything about it, but
he could do a scary thing with what is it? The Others that were in the comics, where they were all, you know, just the way that they would attack different people on shore and I believe underwater, of course. So I think that, you know, he could definitely create a good scary villain. Even though this is going to be a general audience action adventure movie, I think he's going to bring a lot to the table, and he's a very nice guy too. So it's kind of like great that, you know, everything is kind of coming together. One last question though, the fact that this movie is, you know, they're setting up James Wan directing it and everything.
Yeah.
How do you think tonally and visually, will it match with sort of the Zack Snyder kind of aesthetic that's also being used? Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting question because, Snyder is obviously like their main filmmaker, right? You know, he's not only is he doing Batman versus Superman, or v Superman, sorry, Dawn of Justice, but then he's doing the Justice League movies. And James Wan has not directed a film that looks like a Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would hope, though, even though tonally they have a sort of darker tone and whatnot, I hope that visually they don't feel like they need to look that much alike. I mean, with the Marvel movies, there has been a complaint that a lot of them visually look similar, and I think
and tonally it's the same vibe.
But then Winter Soldier really stood out because there was like a grit, literal grit sometimes on the film of that looked different. So I hope with Aquaman 2 and Wonder Woman that they don't all have to try to ape, you know, Snyder and can have some different visuals. I mean, Aquaman alone, because it's going to be, we assume, underwater for at least a portion of the film, you want it to look,
you know, he's going to have like he comes to work in Van Nuys at a pizza shop, and it's just
I'm Aquaman. He puts his trident down on the hat code.
That's right.
So I hope that and because Wan has had such a different look than Snyder, I would hope they don't make him try to be Snyder and just let him do his own thing.
All right, well, it's official news. James Wan directing Aquaman. We want to know what you think about that. Let us know in the comments below. For all things DC movies, Aquaman, all that jazz, keep it here on IGN.